The House adopting a rule late last night to bring forward cryptocurrency legislation. That vote took more than 9 hours as Republican leadership worked to win over holdout members. A bill to establish federal guidelines around stablecoins is likely to be the first bill passed. And joining us right now to talk about this is New Jersey Democrat Congressman Josh Gottheimer. Congressman, first of all, welcome. Normally, what we see. Thanks for having me. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Normally what we see is Democrats kind of blocking some of these bills that the Republicans have wanted to get through. But in this case, you and a couple of your Democratic congressmen sent a letter to your colleagues suggesting that they actually vote for this bill because even though the bill's not perfect, you think it would be worse to have no progress made.
That's right, Becky. You know, we've been working on these bills in some form or another for years to finally bring some certainty to the marketplace, to protect consumers. So you've got two really good bills that are the result of lots of bipartisan work over the years, and it's time we actually get these done. It's not only good for the economy and making sure that America leads, but to finally protect consumers from a lot of these snake oil salesmen and other crypto that's out there that, you know, as you know, is not exactly on the up and up. It's finally time to actually have not only certainty from a regulatory perspective, but to have protections in place.
And what's the feedback you've gotten from your Democratic colleagues?
I mean, you've got two bills, right? The Genius Act, which we'll vote on first, as you mentioned, which defines stable coins, ensures that they're backed one-to-one by dollars or equivalents and guarantees that in the world, the dollar remains king. That bill, I think you're going to see really strong bipartisan support for, and we've gotten very good feedback on that. The other bill, you know, called the Clarity Act, will also get at least a few dozen, in my opinion, members on the Democratic side, in addition to a lot of Republicans. And that bill sets up the oversight, the market structure, right, from CFTC and the SEC, and says who's in charge of what, which has been missing from the space now for many years. You're seeing a lot more Democrats over the week understand it, come on board. You know, you've got some people on the outside who want to make everything about Trump, as you brought up, as always an issue. I think the big thing I keep saying to my colleagues is, do you want to make sure that consumers are protected and that the Trump family coin, the meme coin, has some regulatory structure, has some oversight versus just the Wild West, which is what we have now? And if we do nothing, you'll just be right in the place where we are. There'll be absolutely no oversight, no protection for consumers, no certainty in the marketplace, and that's unacceptable. So I think you're going to see great movement here today, finally, after the Freedom Caucus, you know, has spent the last days throwing tacks on the road and trying to do what they do, which is just obstruct and cause problems. We're finally going to see some movement today.
Just in terms of some of the weaknesses with the bill, we did have the financial services superintendent from the state of New York, which has been regulating crypto for a decade at this point, on with us a little earlier this morning, and she's concerned on a couple of places. The first is that the states are going to lose their ability, that preemption to the states weakens the state's ability to do this. Her point was, we've been doing it for a decade and we know a lot of these things. The thing that I think she was really more concerned about was something like foreign issuers. There is an exemption here for foreign issuers where they can issue into U.S. markets unregulated for 3 years. And I realize there's 18 months once this goes into place that none of this will happen. So it's really 18 months of unregulated. But why was that exemption put in? She seemed to suggest that it's because Tether just had really good lobbyists.
Listen, I think they will ultimately, as you just pointed out, fall into the regulatory structure. And if they're foreign issuers, they will come under, and they want to play here, they're going to have to come under our oversight. You know, listen, these bills are not perfect. There's lots of parts of these bills that I would like to fix. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure the perfect's not the enemy of the good. You want to have some certainty, which we've been fighting over now for years, of who's in charge of what between which regulatory agency. And as a result, there's been no oversight. And if we do nothing, you'll continue to have no oversight, no clarity. And that, to me, is unacceptable, and it's going to hurt consumers. You've got a lot of consumers now who are operating in the Wild West, and we've got to change that. These bills will do that, Becky. You know, again, nothing's perfect. There are things that I would like to have gotten in here, but I've learned a long time ago I'd rather get progress, get something done. We'll come back and do more versus doing nothing because you can't get everything you want. And listen, the Freedom Caucus, the far-right extremists, that's what they always do, right? They were looking for anything that they didn't love about this bill and trying to stop it. We got past that, and now we say, listen, there's going to be a good bipartisan product here. We're going to move forward. America can lead the way versus, letting other countries be in charge.
How many Democrats are on board with this? You can point to the Freedom Caucus, but there's a huge number of Democrats that will not support this.
On the Genius Act, I think you'll get numbers over 70 or so, and we'll see what the final tally is. Again, you'll have a couple dozen or more on the Clarity Act. So those are very strong bipartisan numbers, especially, as you know, right now in this environment where bipartisanship is tougher, and getting people on board on these things, no matter what, is tough. But this is going to be seen as two great bipartisan products that move over. One will go to the president's desk. The Clarity Act will go to the Senate, and we'll continue to work on that and hopefully get that done this year.
You're like on that purple committee. What's the name of it again? You're trying to
problem solvers, Joe.
Yeah,
problem solvers.
Problem solvers. And like me, you live in New Jersey, so that's my latest thing. It's like, this is not my problem.
God's country.
Right, the Garden State, where everybody would like to live if they could. Anyway, where I'm going with this is this is not my problem. What's happening with New York in the mayoral race, but I see a lot of your peers. I don't know what it is, Josh. I guess the inevitability that they see, they don't want to be on this guy's bad side or something, but they are twisting themselves into pretzels to say, well, he's discouraging the global intifada thing, and I know capitalism has problems, and a little bit of socialism hasn't been done right. Maybe we can try. Are you one of those, or can you just? Don't you think the Democratic Party has
you'll hear no ambiguity out of my mouth. We do not need a job-killing socialist. We don't need a job-killing socialist who wants to raise taxes and supports anti-Semitic rhetoric. Right? In a city with the highest taxes in the country and the largest Jewish population in the country.
Surprised?
I don't get it. That's not what we need.
Mainstream Democrat, like, Chuck doesn't know what to do, but some of them are like, I heard Axelrod, it's a big tent, we have to welcome it. I mean, you should be able to say, where the state of the Democratic Party right now, you should be able to say, we don't need to go further left. To just where you're almost coming around on the right.
We need, Joe, you know what I believe? We need common sense Democrats who are willing to solve problems, make life more affordable for people, take on higher taxes, and actually make sure that places run, and whether it's rent or mortgages, we do everything we can to make life more affordable for people. We do not, listen, let me be clear. Socialists, Democratic socialists are not Democrats. They're not in the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders is an independent. He's not even a Democrat. Right, so I don't know why we would follow that approach. We want common sense, reasonableness, and that's what we need in our country. It's what we need in our cities. And obviously, we don't need socialism or tax increases or people who condone anti-Semitic rhetoric, which I find loathsome.